Public notice dissemination for today's meeting. The San Miguel County Board of Commissioners will hold a regular monthly meeting on Tuesday, April 9th, 2019, beginning at 2 p.m. at the San Miguel County Administration Complex, located at 500 West National Avenue, Suite 200, Las Vegas, New Mexico, 87701. During the meeting, the County Board of Finance meeting will take place. Notice to the public with disabilities. If you're an individual with a disability who is in need of a reader, amplifier, qualified sign language interpreter, or any form of auxiliary aid or service to attend or participate in the hearing or meeting, please contact the San Miguel County Manager's Office at 505-425-9333 at least 1 week prior to the meeting or as soon as possible. Public documents, including the agenda and minutes, can be provided in various accessible formats. Please contact the Commission Administrator at either of the above numbers in a summary or any type of accessible format is needed. Public notice published on the Las Vegas Daily Optic, March 25th, 2019, and posted on the San Miguel website at www.co.sanmiguel.nm.us, March 14, 2019. At least 72 hours in advance of the meeting, the following agenda for today's meeting was posted and available for public inspection on the San Miguel County website at www.co.sanmiguel.nm.us, and also available in hard copy at the office of the San Miguel County Managers. Agenda. Call to order. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Chris Nahat.
Here.
Commissioner Max Trujillo.
Here.
Commissioner Janice Varela.
Presente.
Vice Chair Harold Garcia.
Here.
And Madam Chair Maria Martinez.
Here. Can you all please stand to we can call to the front Kathleen Arguello, Caitlin Arguello, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Caitlin, if you're in the room, if you can please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And this is one of our students from Robertson. Thank you, Caitlin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico as the symbol for perpetuates among my knowledge. Approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Motion to approve, Madam Chair.
We have some changes, come on.
We have some changes to the
Oh,
agenda.
third amendment? Okay.
Item number 31 needs to be removed as it is duplicate. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Garcia, second by Commissioner Trujillo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Approval of minutes for February 7th, 2019 special meeting.
Madam Chair, if I'm in order, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes for February the 7th and for March the 12th, 2009.
Motion by Commissioner Garcia.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Nahar. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Introduction of new San Miguel County employees. Okay. Now we will go to public input forum. One, if you are registered to speak, individuals wanting to speak to address the commission during public input must sign in on the public input form prior to the commission approving the day's agenda. Recognized speakers are allowed to speak at a minimum relevant to county business and responsibilities. People are given 3 minutes to speak. The time clock will be posted there on the boards there. Once your 3 minutes are up, with respect, we ask you to, when it's getting close to the 3 minutes, start closing up your presentation and move on. County chairman may recognize individuals who have signed up to speak. Recognized speakers will be limited to 3 minutes of public comment period. Recognized speakers shall be permitted to speak no more than one time. No rebuttals to the comment or others will be permitted. Comments, applause, and other interruptions from the audience shall not be allowed. Threatening, abusive comments that disrupt the meeting shall not be allowed. All speakers shall address the Board of County Commissioners, mention their name, and then speak on the issue from the podium. I call to the podium Ms. Cristiano Grego. Cristiano, I hope I pronounced your name right. If I didn't, Cristino.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Cristino. My name is Cristino Grego. I'm a resident of San Miguel County. I'm a retired educator, an avid hunter, a concealed handgun card holder, owner of numerous rifles and handguns, and 100% disabled Army veteran. I'm here today in support of our duly elected sheriff, who is pledged to uphold the laws of our state and nation. By not supporting the laws passed, he would be declaring himself above the law, a violation already made clear by our Attorney General. These issues are not infringements on our rights to bear arms. All amendments have been modified: freedom of speech, freedom of religion, right to bear arms. There have been made modifications. It is not solely that I have a right to bear arms. By upholding the laws, Sheriff Lopez is correct in his stand, and I encourage the County Commission to support him as well. Congratulations to the Dons and to the Cardinals, the Lady Cardinals, for their great victories. And again, thank you, Madam Chair, for your time. Fellow commissioners, we appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Grego. Next, I call Manuel Garcia.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Manuel Garcia, and I'm going to continue making a few more comments on solid waste and recycling. The state average recycling rate is at about 16%, and the state has set a goal to reach 35% rate soon. We are burying so much value in our landfills. New Mexico buries about $168 million worth of valuable materials in the landfills that could be recycled. And in the country, there's a good recycling rate movement. Recycling does have its problems. Any business or any activity has its problems, but a lot of money can be saved by recycling. San Miguel County landfills between 17,000 and 18,000 tons of material to the various landfills per year, and it costs an average in New Mexico about $31.30 per ton to landfill solid waste. So 17,000 or $18,000 times 17,000 times 8 or 18,000 tons times $31 or so is about $470,000 to $500,000. So by reducing the amount of material that goes to the landfill, the county can save money. And so right now the county is running a deficit in the land and the solid waste program. So I don't know exactly what the deficit is. I've received some figures from the county that indicates that the budget for solid waste is about $1 million. And they take in about $250,000 in fees for solid waste from residents. And then they pay out about $250,000, about $250,000 to the 3 landfills where they take their solid waste, since San Miguel County doesn't have a solid waste or a dump. So I would like the county to really consider increasing the the recycling rate. We need to somehow save money and reduce that deficit. And I'd like to ask the county commissioners to tell us, the residents, what exactly is the deficit in the solid waste department? Is it a $170,000 deficit, or is it a $700,000 a year deficit? You know, they're both deficits. You know, $170,000 is a large deficit, $700,000 a year is an even larger deficit. We need to know what the actual deficit is, why the deficit is occurring, and what the county is going to be doing in the future to make sure that they can solve this deficit, because it's hurting. That's money that could be used for roads and any other improvements in the county, and we need to solve that problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Next, Robert Pearson.
Members of the Commission, my name is Robert Pearson. I live in Rosiada. I am 84 years old, and my vision has deteriorated to the point where I can no longer read a book, nor can I drive. But I can still buy a gun. Would anyone like to join me on a hunting expedition? Guns are a serious proposition. Every day in the United States, nearly 100 people die because of by firearms. About 20, the NRA says that the best defense against a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. But that is the old West gunfight mentality. We should say that the best way to fight a bad guy with a gun is not to allow him to get a gun in the first place. So about 20 years ago, the Brady bill was passed to institute background checks on all sales of guns through licensed dealers. In that 20 years, there have been over 280 million background checks. About 0.5% of those have been denied for various reasons. But about 3 million gun sales every year do not have a background check because they are not sold through licensed dealers. So this was dealt with by our legislature this year to close that loophole. So this will make us more safe. I urge you, Sheriff, with the support of the County Commission, to support this law and to make sure that you are not stampeded into doing what other sheriffs and county commissions have done, to declare that the law is unconstitutional. So I support you in keeping the situation safe for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. David Bacon.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'm David Bacon. I'm from Santa Fe. I'm with a group called the Alliance for Local Economic Prosperity. We're working on a bill to create a state-owned bank. There's only one right now, and that's in North Dakota. And what that bank does in North Dakota is it acts as a backstop for local community banks. It allows them to handle municipal and county money. It provides extremely low-income loans for farmers, especially young farmers who are trying to get started and who need to have a loan to even buy land and equipment, etc. And it has made, when the big recession hit in 2008, North Dakota didn't even feel it because of their available amount of money that they had in their state-owned bank. The other quick anecdote, Red River splits North Dakota and Minnesota. And there are two little towns on the Red River, one in North Dakota, they're both called Grand Rapids, and one in Minnesota. The Red River flooded several years ago and wiped out both little towns. The one in North Dakota was able to rebuild totally and quickly because of the actions and the assets that the State-Owned Bank of North Dakota could put towards that. The one in Minnesota never got rebuilt. So this, I have a simple 3-page handout. We're just looking toward the Coalition of County statewide meeting. We'll have a resolution by then for all county commissions to probably to vote on just something that would just support the creation of a state-owned bank. So if I can, I'll hand these out.
Next, we have Carol Johnson.
My name is Carol Johnson, and I live 909 Lincoln Street in Las Vegas, and I'm a retired environmental scientist. And I'm here representing San Miguel County Federation of Democratic Women, and I wish they'd stand up. And we are here to support background checks for not just public sale, but also for private sale. And we want to see this enforced, and we're very supportive of our county sheriff and his deputies. So we also want the support of the county commissioners. We cannot protect our communities from gun violence while still protecting the Second Amendment. Guns should be kept out of the hands of dangerous people like domestic abusers and convicted criminals. Ending gun violence isn't a red or blue issue. Protecting lives from gun violence will require the leadership of all Americans, regardless of the party. We reject the lies and misinformation of the Washington gun lobby. We support common sense policies that have been proven to save our lives. I am here to support our sheriff and our county commissioners for using discretion on the Second Amendment sanctuary resolution. And I also want to congratulate our female athletes. I used to be a coach at West Las Vegas, volleyball, basketball, track and field, and we wore gym suits. So, girls athletics, go.
Before I move on, there's a set of keys that was found in the bathroom. If you could tell me what the set of keys has on it, I'll give them to you. Anybody lose a set of keys? What? Nobody lost a set of keys. It has something unique on it. I don't want somebody to drive off in somebody's car, so I don't want to say what it is. Well, if anybody finds out they don't have their keys, I have them. Okay, next it's Carolyn Lynn. I hope I pronounced your name correct.
It was very close. My name is Carol Line. Good
Carolyn.
afternoon, Commissioners. I too am here to speak in support of the Commissioners and also our Sheriff and the deputies in supporting the law that was passed in the legislature this year in the state of New Mexico to support the use of background checks in this state. Our legislators are people who are there to create laws to protect all of us. And as a result of that, I think it is up to us to enforce the laws that they create. So I support you strongly, and I too am a member of the Federation of Democratic Women, and we are strongly in gratitude to you for your strong stance in this matter. Thank you.
Thank you. That'll lead us to start our regular meeting. Oath of office, San Miguel County Detention Center, presentation updates from NMHU presenter, Minner, NMHU.
Chairman, Commissioners, County Manager, Public, before you today is Officer Xavier Romero. He's going to take his oath of office. He came to us in January. He has completed all the necessary requirements to move from cadet status to officer status. And with me today is, and assisting me with this oath of office is Officer Brian Padilla, who is our first recipient of our new Employee of the Month program. So he is here with me today in support of Officer Romero. Chairman, if you'd lead us in the oath of office.
Can you raise your right hand, please? I state your name.
I, Xavier Romero,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of New Mexico,
the Constitution of the State of New Mexico,
that I will follow all policies and procedures of the County of San Miguel
that I will follow all policies and procedures of San Miguel
and the San Miguel County Detention Center,
and the San Miguel County Detention Center,
and that I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and to best of my ability
and to the best of my ability
discharge all duties
discharge all duties
of detention officer.
of detention officer.
Right.
And now present Officer Xavier Romero.
I know.
Presentation updates from NMHU, presenter President Minner, NMHU.
Good afternoon, everyone. Madam Chair, members of the commission, members of the audience. My name is Sam Minner. Can you hear me? This isn't very high. Let's see if I can. Is that any better? No. No. I don't think it's on. It should be on. How about that? I really need to get, okay, I'll have to bend down, sorry. But again, my name's Sam Minner. I'm president of Highlands. I've been here 3 years. This is my 4th year. It's really been a great pleasure. living here. My wife and I live in Las Vegas, San Miguel County. It's been a really wonderful experience for us. I'm here to talk about 3 issues. I promise I'll be brief. I see you have a very long agenda. Let me try to hold this because I don't like... How about that? Okay, I don't like looking down like that. So 3 issues. I'm not expecting any action this afternoon, but just kind of put them on the table. We'll kind of see where they go. The first issue has to do with a very, very important Las Vegas, San Miguel, really northern New Mexico asset, the Gene Torrance Golf Course. As you may or may not know, there's a lot of confusion about the golf course. The golf course is owned by Highlands. It's state property. It's like, the library or where my office is or a classroom building. The state owns that space. We operate it as a golf course on and off. We've had a restaurant there. We have a pro shop there. There are a few homes there. We own the ground that those homes sit on too. Last spring, I asked our business office to take a look at that operation and what's going on, how are we doing. They went back many, many years. Actually, they went back to when the golf course was established. That was many years ago, long before I came. What I found is that that particular facility has lost money since the very beginning, and we continue to lose money. It's a losing proposition for us. But as I said in my opening remarks, it's a very, very important community asset. So my goals are to retain the course, to improve it if we can, but I also will not run a deficit. I mean, I'm not permitted to. It's actually illegal for me to run a deficit given the job that I have. So we won't run a deficit. We have been running deficits there to the tune of about $200,000 a year, approximately. So I worked with my bosses, the board. We have a 3-legged stool plan to try to meet this deficit. The first plan is to try to increase usage. So we've worked with our pro out there, and we've had other tournaments and other activities and so on and so forth. So we're trying on that. It's difficult given the population loss in the city. So we're losing people, which is to say we're losing golfers, really. But still, could we do more than we're doing now? We're checking that out. The second leg of the stool has to do with the possibility of land development there. We own that property, that is to say Highlands. The state owns the property. We have some homes there now. And including we own that, strip along Mills there. That's a very heavily traveled street. There's a lot of cars there. So what could be done there in terms of development? So we're looking into that. And there's a couple different possibilities. All of them are really challenging. One of the big challenges we have is, again, we own the land. So go to the bank and say, I want a couple $100,000 to build a home, but I'm not going to own the land. I mean, that's really, really tough to do. I mean, you're probably not going to get that loan. But there might be other ways, so we're looking at that. That's the second leg. The third leg has to do with partnerships. So again, I want that course to continue. That's the goal. I want to improve it. Last year during the drought, it was so brown out there. It was very, very challenging. But again, as I said, I will not go into deficit. So I wanted to make the county commissioners aware of this challenge we're facing. I have made a presentation to the City Council, Las Vegas City Council, so they know of the challenge. We also made a request in Santa Fe at the legislative session this year, a significant request which was not funded. I mean, there were a lot of requests made that weren't funded, I know that. But we are talking to our potential partners and see if we could somehow, some way come up with a plan as a community to maintain this asset or make it better. Those are my drivers. Those are my goals. But we can't continue to run that deficit. The board is actually my bosses, the Board of Regents. I have many bosses, but the Board of Regents are my main bosses. They disallowed me from running a deficit. I mean, they don't really have to tell me that, But they passed a resolution. You cannot run a deficit, so you have to figure this out. So that's the first thing that I would like to mention this afternoon. Again, not expecting any action. You might have some discussions as a board. There might be a community group that gets together, some folks from the city, some folks from the county, some folks from Highlands, maybe the school districts, to see if we can come up with some creative way to get this done. The second issue is kind of more of a city issue, but I wanted to bring it to your attention as well. As you may know, the city commissioned a study. I don't know if you received a copy of this or not. It's just a few months old. It's titled the Metropolitan Redevelopment Area Plan. And it came out toward the end of last year, 18. Part of that plan had to do, in fact, the number one recommendation was to make some changes in the traffic flow that might bring additional folks, mainly people off of 25, guests in town or tourists or whatever, but to change that traffic flow. So I also talked to the city a little bit about this. Madam Mayor and I will be getting together again for the next phase of our discussions, but I wanted to make you aware of that, and if, from my perspective, if anyone from the county would like to join us, assuming there is any forward movement, I would certainly welcome that. I want to add that some of these potential changes were really, not some of them, but all of them were in this report. The city commissioned this. It wasn't Highlands. We didn't pay for it. I was interviewed. I don't know if anyone from the county was interviewed on this or not. I mean, there was a long list of people who were interviewed from the area, you know. But I do want you to know and be assured that from a Highlands perspective, we're not going to go forward with any of these unless we're all together and there's broad community support for some of these challenges. One of the recommendations as a possibility, again, it's not me pressing on this, but the recommendation in this report was to possibly redirect traffic through University. If you know University here, it's a weird road. It's one way for part of the road, and then it's two way the other half of the road. Really odd. And one of their recommendations was to make it two way the whole way, and to try to direct traffic more toward University instead of National. National goes right through the middle of the campus. It's a busy road. It's a dangerous road for our students. We've had a couple accidents there. But there were other recommendations too. But I do want to assure the commission that I'm not certainly going to kind of make any of these changes unless we're walking arm in arm on this and decide it's in our best interests mutually. So, thirdly and finally, and I mentioned this at the city presentation as well, I would like to establish, we can call it whatever we want to call it, but I would like to establish a kind of town gown commission where we'd get together on a regular basis, not, once a month or anything, but on some routine basis, we would get together, folks from the university and folks from the community, the city and the county, to talk about how things are going, what issues are on the horizon from our perspectives. At Highlands, we've got several thousand students here. A lot of them live on campus. A lot of them live in the community. There are always all kinds of issues. I've lived in university towns most of my adult life. The issues here are actually less than some of the places I've lived. But still, the goal is to get those to zero. So it would be somebody, one or more people from the county, I don't know how that might be arranged, or one of you, but some representation from the county who would come together with Highlands folks, people from the city, just general citizens, to talk about how things are going among us and what we might do to improve the situation. Need to be good neighbors. I know for a fact, and I think all of you agree, good things happen when you work together and you collaborate. That's how you get things done, especially in 2019. So those are the three things that I wanted to just briefly discuss today with you. Again, I'm not expecting any action today or anything like that, but I want to bring them to your attention and see where we go from here. So, Madam Chair, I don't know, can I stand for any questions, or how do you want to handle it from here on?
We just take your presentation.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody has any questions.
I have a comment.
Yes, sir.
I want to thank you, President Minner, for addressing the commission today, and also assure you that we are having these conversations about collaboration with the university and with the other entities in our community. And I think we've all come to realize that we rise together or we sink together. And it's important that, and again, I thank you for reaching out and doing this presentation, but also to assure you that we are having these conversations, and we will be reaching out to Highlands as well, and look for some partnerships in some areas that we can collaborate and cooperate on with the university.
Yes, well, thanks for that. I couldn't agree more. Again, not only me personally, but the institution, since I've been here, it's been very welcoming from the city, the county, residents. A lot of people have suggestions and recommendations to me. There's no shortage of that. I welcome those. That means they care about what's going on. So I don't mind that at all. But I do agree, we must work together. We must collaborate. The deeper that collaboration, the better off we're all going to be. That is crystal clear in my head. So.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your time. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Next, we have a presentation from Alta Vista Regional Hospital Opiate Detox Program presenter Caleb O'Rear.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I would be remiss if I didn't recognize the many student athletes that we have with us today. Congratulations on all your success in the state. That's awesome. My name is Caleb O'Rear, and I was asked to come and talk about the medical detox program at Alta Vista Hospital. And with me is Claudia Gonzalez. She's our Director of Case Management and Utilization as well. And so where the clinical piece begins, I end, and she takes over. So I just want to give you a little summary of the program to date. And so I've come before you a couple of times talking about developments at the hospital. The first time was reopening OB, which we're excited to do, and celebrating great success with many births at the hospital continuing on. The second was to come and talk about general surgery and how we have fully staffed the hospital so that we don't have unnecessary transfers outside the facility. And at that same time, I think I told you we were working on a medical detox program, but it's really taken us until now to get it operational. So about 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, we opened the program, and it took us a little bit of time developing the protocols, taking it through the various committees, getting our various physicians' support on it. And so it is a medical detox program that is voluntary. So patients that are addicted to opiates or alcohol that wish to begin the rehab process, the first piece of which is detoxing, are screened at our hospital. They are allowed to be admitted, and then they go through a protocol therapy that prepares them for the next phase of their treatment, which is at discharge follow-up therapy, whether that be inpatient therapy or outpatient therapy.
So my process is I receive the phone calls. So anyone in the community can call 505-426-3771. So physicians, your primary care physician can start the process. A family member can start it. The patient that is detoxing can start the process. We will get the voicemails, or we will get the phone calls, and if we don't answer right away, we will call back within the same business day. First part of the screening process is on the phone, and it's just general information. We will get basically emergency contact, insurance information, what the withdrawal is from. And then after that, we will go ahead and collaborate with the nursing staff to make sure that there is a bed available for the patient. And then we will call the patient back for the second part of the screening, which is a little bit more intensive process. There's a lot of questions asked, withdrawal symptoms, both from alcohol and opiate. And after that, we check verification of insurance, and we will get the patient admitted based on criteria. The doctor has to first deem appropriate admission. So the patient has to meet criteria for admission, both clinically and financially. After the patient has met the criteria, they will be registered and be taken to their room. After that process, there will be a contract that will be signed by them saying that they will agree to any terms and conditions of being in our detox services. And after that, the physician takes control, and he or she will either taper the patient off of either the drugs or the alcohol based on their symptoms. So it's usually 3 to 5 days. Every patient is different, so it might be a little less, it might be a little bit more. Case management will be involved in the discharge planning, and that's where we will offer them either outpatient treatment, or if they feel, and if the doctor feels as well that the patient needs to go to an inpatient treatment center, we will also start that process.
Well, I would like to say thank you for opening this program in our community. It's a well-needed program in our community. This program, I'm sure, will benefit many people that I know in my community, not only that I know in the community, but at home. Also, I want to ask you, how would one get a flyer or some information in regard? I work for a school agency in our community, and I would like that available to the families that we service in our community. So if I could get a flyer or something with that information for the program.
We can definitely either drop them off or mail them off to you.
Okay.
So we have that available for you.
And again, thank you guys. I appreciate what you guys
You're
are doing
welcome.
for our community.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Any questions about the program, we'd be happy to answer.
Yes, thank you so much for this service. As the chair stated, I agree completely. It's a very desperately needed program in our community. Do you offer the services outside of Las Vegas into the rural parts of the county?
Yes, we would welcome patients from wherever they come from. In fact, I'm glad you mentioned that. A lot of people choose to detox outside of the community that they came from. And so we absolutely are rolling that out. I've been to Mora to talk with leaders in that community, and we'll expand that around.
Thank you so much.
Sure. One last piece that Yolanda and a number of other people, Sheriff Lopez is working on as well, is this is just one piece of the puzzle. And so for those of you that don't know, when patients want to get help and want to get into rehab or want to get therapy, all places won't take them until they're clean. And so that's a huge challenge for us prior to this program. So this is the first step. We get patients that personally want to be clean. We get them clean. The next step is having those other resources locally that we can care for them outside of that. So we have a few resources like that here, but the biggest void is having an inpatient treatment center. And we've got some really talented people in the community that are working hard on that. And I do think it's going to come to a reality, but that'll be the full spectrum of care for that population. So we're looking forward to that.
I have one more question. Since this program has been opened, how many clients have you served so thus far, from opening date to more or less?
We've had quite a few inquiries. I think we've had our 6th patient through right now. We've had a lot of people that, and for those of you that know people with these disease, you have to think about a lot of different things. We have people that'll call on a Friday and say, you know, I think I may want to come in Monday, but not before then. We'll have husbands or wives call and say, I want to bring them in, and then sometimes that doesn't work out. And so had lots of inquiries, but we just treated our 6th patient. And I was in the bank the other day and ran into a young lady, I think I shared this with our group at our meeting in the morning, whose friend was one of our first ones through the program. And she stopped me and she said, I want you to know, after discharge, she's doing great, she's doing therapy, and she's finally clean. So, you know, we're making a difference with it, and I know we'll continue to do that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Just
Thank
one
you.
more question. How many can you accommodate at one time?
Our capacity is really a function of the nurses that we have. And so we're licensed for 48 beds at our hospital. We run a census much less than that, but largely because we don't have the nurses right now to staff that. So we're working hard to get additional nurses so that we can increase that up.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
We have another question. Commissioner Garcia.
Caleb.
Yes, sir.
I want to extend my gratitude to you for looking out the box. There's been issues with regards to concerns from the community regarding Alta Vista Regional Hospital. And I know that it's been a challenge for you and your staff. And I want to applaud you for taking the steps that you've taken to be a better resource for the community.
Thank you.
I'm an optimist, and I really believe that you're going to make a big difference for the community.
We appreciate it.
So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. And if I'd like to ask, one of the things we're really proud of at the hospital is our surgical program. So prior to this last year, for those of you that didn't know, we had one surgeon in town that was here as much as he could be here. And then when he wasn't here, someone that came to our hospital that had belly pain, that might need surgery, unfortunately was put on a multiple $1,000 helicopter and flown outside of town. And that was one of the first issues we noticed when the new management took over the hospitals. We've got to shore this up. And so I'm happy to say that we do have 24/7 surgeons in-house and on our campus every day. They're board certified surgeons that bring an incredibly high level of care to our hospital. And we have one of them with us today, and I'd like for her to come up. This is Dr. Teddy Swedinsky.
Put that lower. Hi. Thanks for a few minutes of your time. My name's Teddy Swedinsky. As he says, I'm a board certified general surgeon. I work with Rural Surgical Associates. We're a group that's working in partnership with the hospital to bring high quality general surgery, board certified, full services back to Las Vegas. We provide full bread and butter general surgery, things that you all need, your colonoscopies, because everybody needs one at the age of 45, all gallbladders, hernias, all that bread and butter stuff, all your lumps and bumps, that kind of things. But we also are very skilled in the higher level of care. We can do colon cancer surgeries. We can do the higher level of stuff. And if we can't do it, we have a great referral service that we can get you out to see. I'm basically here to tell you, you all don't have to go to Santa Fe anymore. You don't have to go to Albuquerque. We can give you the high quality you need. And you all deserve, this town deserves high quality service, and we're here to provide it. I know we have a long meeting, so I'm not going to take up much of your time, so.
Thank you.
All right?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Regular order. Resolution recognizing the Robertson Lady Cardinals Basketball State Championship for the 2018-19 school year. Presenter, Max Trujillo.
Good afternoon. I just want to welcome the Robertson Lady Cardinals basketball team to our meeting and recognize them for their great efforts this year in bringing home a state championship. I'd like to call you ladies up to the front here. So you can be presented to the community. And while they're coming up, I just want to say that this is one of the cool things about, some of the work we do as county commissioners is to recognize our young people in our community and thank you, because you are important to our community. You're the future of our community here, and what you guys do, and we all see you, and we support you in what you guys are doing, but and your coaches and your parents and your families that support you, you're all very important to our community, and don't ever think that you're not. You guys are really important to our community, and with that, I'm going to present a resolution to the county commission recognizing our Robertson Lady Cardinal basketball team. So this is resolution 04-09-19 SBC in recognition of the Robertson Lady Cardinals basketball team winning the Class 3A State Basketball Championship. Whereas the San Miguel County Board of Commissioners commends outstanding educational and athletic achievement and gives special honor to those student athletes who pursue such excellence that they become role models for the youth of San Miguel County. And whereas a resolution recognizing and honoring the Lady Cardinals basketball team for winning the Class 3A State Basketball Championship on Saturday, March 15th at the Dream Style Arena, also known as the Pit. Whereas the Strive for Excellence unified their mission to stand as champions under the leadership of head coach Jose Medina, bringing the first ever girls basketball title to Robertson. And whereas that determination, heart, and strive for excellence was evident on the court throughout the 2018-2019 basketball season. And whereas the Lady Cardinal basketball team stands as one of the most defensively and offensively sound teams in the state. And whereas the team consists of Kaylin Marujo, Caitlin Arguello, Leanne Salazar, Gabriela Trujillo, Alianza Darty, Shayla Hills, Trinity Sena, Jasmine Jaramillo, Tessa Ortiz, Jasmine Varela, Jasmine Jenkins, Jaden Jenkins, and Pasepa Tuineo, and Stella Garcia. And whereas the Robertson girls basketball team merits recognition for their perseverance, determination, spirit, and hard work in capturing the 3A New Mexico State Basketball Championship, leading as a positive example for the youth of Las Vegas and San Miguel County. I present this resolution to the Board of County Commissioners, and I recommend approval.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Varela, second by Commissioner Nahara. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Good job. Thank you. Appreciate it.
And just one more comment on the youth of our communities. Our Pecos Panthers, Lady Panthers, and Gentlemen Panthers also won state championships in basketball. Our West Las Vegas cheer team is a state champion this year, and we had multiple wrestling state champions from both sides, from East Las Vegas and West Las Vegas. So I just want to commend our youth and thank them for their exemplary behavior and perseverance.
We'll move on to item number 2, resolution recognizing the West Las Vegas Co-Ed Cheerleading State Championships for the 2018-19 school year. I would like to call these cheerleaders up to the front. And your coaches.
Hardware.
I want to welcome the West Las Vegas cheer team to the San Miguel County Commission meeting today. I will be presenting resolution 0409-19SC in recognition of the West Las Vegas co-ed cheer team winning the state 3A championship. Whereas the San Miguel County Board of Commission commends outstanding educational and athletic achievement and gives special honor to those students, athletes who pursue such excellence that they become role models for the youth of San Miguel County. And whereas a resolution recognizing and honoring West Las Vegas co-ed cheer team for winning their third class 3A state championship on March 30th, 2019 at Dreamstyle Stadium, AKA The Pit. And whereas successful to their bid to bring home a first place New Mexico State Championship trophy. And whereas this year was the third championship in a row the program has won under the leadership of head coach Isabel Cavazos and assistant coaches. And whereas that determination, heart, and strive for excellence was evident in the West Las Vegas co-ed cheer squad. And whereas the West Las Vegas co-ed cheer team consists of Kristen Cavazos, Cristina Garcia, Amelia Madrid, Kennedy Branchal, Andrea Ulibarri, Candy Gonzalez, Preciosa Chavez, Celia Lovato, Eliana Gomez, Jennifer Chavez, Olivia Gallegos, Nathan Urioste, Andrea Gomez, Erin Para, Angelina Garcia, Alicia Urioste, Amber Trujillo, Haley Marquez, Juliana Lucero, Marissa Hernandez, Tiffany Montano, Alyssa Vigil, Elizabeth Rodriguez, Jesselyn Padilla, Luna Gonzalez, and Josephine Morales. And whereas the West Las Vegas co-ed cheer team merits recognition for their perseverance, determination, spirit, hard work in capturing the 3A New Mexico State co-ed cheerleading championship, leading as a positive example for youth of Las Vegas and San Miguel County. And whereas passed and approved on this 9th day of April 2019 by the Board of Commissions of San Miguel County. I have a motion.
So moved.
I second.
Motion by Commissioner Garcia, second by Commissioner Trujillo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Congratulations.
Great job. Congratulations. Great job. Good job. Great job. Good job. Congratulations. Great job. Good job. Great job. Yay. I thought you were going to do some cartwheels. Good job. Yay. Great job. Great job. Good job, everyone.
Okay. Let's go now. Oh, one resolution, one more. Huh? One more. Foster grandparents.
Next on the agenda, we'll move on to item number 3, resolution recognizing the foster grandparent senior companion resolution. Presenter Maria Martinez. Can I have the foster grandparents stand up and come to the front? And before I begin my presentation, there's a woman in this group here that stands out to me, and that's because she gave birth to me. She is my mom, Elvira Martinez. If I can have you raise your hand and come forward. Okay, this is resolution number 0409-19001, Foster Grandparent Senior Companion National Service Resolution. Whereas National Service Recognition Day, thousands of local leaders take time to honor AmeriCorps members and Senior Corps, and whereas volunteers, by participating in recognition events, issuing official proclamations, and taking to social media a nationwide show of appreciation. The 7th annual event took place already Thursday, April 4th, and whereas this initiative is led by the Corporation of National and Community Services, CNCS, with support of the National League of Cities, National Association of Counties and Cities of Service. Whereas the foster grandparents and senior parent programs originally came to San Miguel County in 1975, In 1993, the behavioral health took over the program until Health New Mexico took over the program in 2010. Whereas San Miguel County currently has 37 foster grandparents and 19 senior companions. And whereas the foster grandparents are role models, mentors, and friends to children with exceptional needs. This program provides a way for volunteers ages 21, no, not really, I'm just saying 55 and over to stay active in servicing children and youth in our communities. Now, therefore, be it resolved that San Miguel County would like to recognize these individuals for their dedication to our community. Accepted and approved this 9th day of April 2019. Do I have a motion on the floor?
So move.
Motion by Commissioner Garcia, second by Commissioner Nahar. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. I'd like to tell you, ladies, thank you for the hard work you do in our community. The children and the people that you guys work with see you as role models. They look forward to you coming into the schools and into their homes to do the work that you do. Once again, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 4, request for May 2019 County Commission meeting to be moved to Pecos, New Mexico on Wednesday, May 15, 2019. Presenter, Commissioner Janice Varela.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, members of the commission, of the board, and thank you, Commissioner Trujillo, for mentioning Pecos. And we're very proud of our athletes, our student athletes, and our champions. And that is the purpose of requesting this May meeting be held in Pecos. I understand there used to be one meeting, and that was September. The last 3 years in Pecos for San Miguel County, the last 3 years we've had it, the last 2 years, and this will be our 3rd year of having that meeting in Pecos. So thank you for your consideration.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Nahar,
Second.
second by Commissioner Trujillo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next on the agenda, we have San Miguel County Housing Authority 5-year and annual plan approval. Presenter, Ms.
Betty Valdez.
Betty Valdez.
Chair Martinez, Commissioners, my name is Betty Valdez. I'm the Acting Director for San Miguel Housing Authority. I'm here to ask for approval for the 5-year and annual plan to submit to HUD. In this plan, I know it was really light reading. I don't know if you got all of the plan, but to give you the Reader's Digest version, it is a plan that is asking, or that lays out for the community for the next 5 years, and annually we will be focusing on the homeless population. We're going to try to preserve the affordable housing units that are available. We're struggling in this community, and I heard it from the president of the university. We're up against the university landlords, and we really have a hard time. We've been in the community a lot lately issuing vouchers, and we hear from landlords. We're in competition with the university students and that rent. They get very high rents from those college students, and they don't necessarily want our Section 8 dollars because we're capped at a certain dollar amount. So we've been visiting the chamber, the schools, the senior centers, advocating for the program. So we're trying to preserve the housing stock, the affordable housing stock, the vouchers, and that's really our goal, is to increase that and preserve that over the next 5 years, and more so annually. So that's what the plan lays out, who we're going to contact, who we have been contacting. We have some upcoming landlord outreach classes here in the chambers. and I'll answer any questions that you might have.
Do I have a motion on the floor?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, Madam Chair.
Second?
Motion to approve by Commissioner Nahar, second by Commissioner Varela. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Betty.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Betty, for all the good
Thank
work.
you, Chair Martinez, Commissioners. I appreciate it.
Item 6, fiscal year 17-18 audited financial statements. Presenter, Melinda Gonzalez, Finance Director.
Madam Chairwoman and Commissioners, we received notification from the State Auditor's Office that our audit is complete. It's a requirement that our auditors come and present the audit. So we have Ray Roberts from CRI, and he will be doing the presentation.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Commissioners. I am convinced that one of these days, when I walk in and there's a big crowd, they're going to stay and hear the audit report. I'm convinced of it. So, you know, but I've been doing this a long time. I know it's going to happen. So, anyway, I appreciate the opportunity to be here to present this audit report. I know it's been a very long meeting already, and you have some more to go. So, I believe I have given Melinda some handouts, and I don't know, I didn't ask her to pass them out. So here she goes. This is a one-page front and back to highlight the presentation that I don't know where it went. So here we go. That's great. All right, real quick, we're going to talk about the timeline, a little bit about the auditor reports, the findings, some trends that could be informational to you guys, and some upcoming changes that will happen. So here's the timeline for the audit. We started back in August or June, getting approved and getting August, and then we delivered on time, just like we have, the San Miguel County has in the past. And then we, due to delays at the state auditors, that's why we're here at the April meeting presenting. So nothing wrong with the staff, done anything wrong or anything. It's just the transition of the new state auditor. So the one thing that we need to talk about, the most important thing, is that as auditors, we give 3 reports of all these financial statements. The financial statement of the CAFR that was presented to you are your financial statements. Our responsibilities are really 3 different reports. The first one is the opinion on the financial statements. And this year, like it has been in the past, is unmodified opinion. That's the best report that you can get from an auditor, okay? And we are able to place the opinion on every aspect of the audit. Now keep that in mind. That's the best report you can have. The next report is just a report. The first one was an opinion. We gave our opinion that you're following all the rules. The next report is just what the accounting gods, as I call them, call negative assurance. Negative assurance is we looked at all your controls, the checks and balances, and we looked at the design of them, how they look like on paper, and then actually how you're operating them. Are you doing what you say and have planned out? And in this case, we just tell you if something comes to our attention that needs improvement. And this is where we would find some findings. Our firm is notoriously picky, but your staff took them like a champ, and that's great, because they want to get better, okay? And it's admirable to us, and we appreciate audit clients like that. So we have some, we'll talk about that. I believe all the findings were talked about at the exit conference in detail. So the next thing is the opinion that we give on the single audit or the federal funds spent. We looked through a whole process that the federal government requires us to have, and look at the details of the Section 8 program, the voucher program. And we didn't find anything wrong in that area, and so we give an opinion, unmodified opinion. So hand claps back for the Housing Authority, for all the staff. So we did have 6 findings. As I say, we have one that's about the capital assets. Man, they're getting close. I can't imagine that this will be here next year. It's just a small duplication of something. The next thing is unrecorded cash balance. Sounds a lot worse than it is. The commission was really doing the right thing, trying to make it easier for the people in Pecos to pay their taxes. And it just was a timing difference of recording that information. It's not like it wasn't hidden or anything like that. The third thing would be the preparation of accounts payable, another one that's getting close, just had a small off on that. These were improvement points. That's not as, only in the state of New Mexico would I have to say this out loud because they require every little item to be reported to the commissioner and the public, which is fine. But I don't want anybody to put any more weight into these improvement points than what they are. They're just improvement points. So the next thing is the county treasurer's property tax roll forward. This has been an ongoing problem for a lot of counties as they change software programs. The old software, the new software can't take the history of the old software, and it just takes time because it's a history of 10 years, and it just takes 10 years to gather up that information in the new system, and it's not unusual for that to happen. So it's not necessarily a horrible thing or a bad thing, but it's just a thing on that part of it. And the last one is they have two things. We did a little extra work in the area of leases, and we found one that's from a prior year that hadn't been approved by the state. They're rectifying that. And the last thing is had a small under collateralized balance at some of the banks, and that has already been corrected. So also we had 5 findings last time that have been corrected, and that are not repeat findings. So that's terrific. So the county's doing terrific in accepting the improvement points and correcting them and trying to get better. The attitude is terrific. So, oh my, the hand. Do I have any ideas? Anyway, I'll oh, there we go. So the net position of all these charts, what it's telling you, I'll get to them, and I know for time's sakes, the county is really doing a great job of following and managing their money. Okay, the assets are going up, the cash is, you have some spikes because you spend some extra one year, and then next year you accumulate it, then you spend some more. Not unusual, but overall it's increasing. And then the debt's going down. So the only thing that looks weird, as I would say, and I'll flip through here, now it's gone. So, whoa. All right. I am so sorry about this. All right. It's only to go through this because of the problems. It's in the area of liabilities. Okay, the county has their normal operating liabilities under control, but if you look at the last 4 years worth or 3 or 4 years worth of financial statements, you're going to see large increases in liabilities, and there's for 2 reasons. Back in 2015, the Auditing Standards Board required us to record the pension liability for the PERA and for the state retirement. Okay, and so is it your responsibility? You have a portion of that that's recorded on your financial statements. And then we go along a couple years, it keeps increasing, and then boom, this year we had to report all the health insurance for retirees and life insurance for the retirees, and it's another big hit there. So now at the end of this year, at the end of 18, I mean, you had $11 million of a liability on your financial statement, and it's started at 4, and so it's just going straight up, and it affects a couple things. It affects the total liabilities that you have, and it also affects the equity or net position, and it causes it to go down. And in reality, it has unrestricted net assets of being a negative. That by itself would look bad if you did by looking at that without some background. The background is that liability is the state's liability. You have allocated portion of that. Okay, it will ultimately start affecting your bond ratings and your bond by getting a lower rating and higher interest rates with a lower rating. If that happens, what will prevent that from happening is the state start managing it and having that liability flatten out and start getting smaller. Okay,
And so the only way they can do that, you can't print enough money to handle this liability across the country. So you're going to have to take, the state's going to have to kick some more in, the individual employees are going to have to kick some more in, the counties and cities will have to kick some more in, and you're going to have to work longer to do it. It's the only way it's going to be viable. This is the only, it was the main reason to shine light on it, that the government and the accounting standards boards wanted it on the financial statement so people can see how large these retirement obligations are. So for San Miguel County, it is $11 million, okay? So it's going to take a while to get through that, and they're going to work through it. I have all the confidence in the state to figure that out. So, especially as long as the oil's doing great down south. So overall, that's it. The cash is going good. You are doing a great job of managing that. We do, I talked a little bit about the new retirement plan being implemented. It caused a $4 million increase in liability. We have a couple things coming down the track that will affect the county. One of them being fiduciary responsibilities. That's the money that you hold for other people. You know, you collect their taxes. You're going to have to report that differently, okay? So it's going to be, that's not 19 is the next year. And then in addition to that, you have leases. The county has a lot of leases. Everybody has a lot of leases. And so those were at one time called off-balance sheet because you only have lease expense. But you really could have a 20-year lease on a building. It sounds like in reality you borrowed money for that building. So what's going to happen is they're going to make you put an asset on the books and another liability and record it like if you borrowed the money. It makes perfect sense from a theoretical academic viewpoint. So, but it makes you guys' financial statements even worse because it has so many more liabilities. So, but that's just something that everybody's dealing with, and it's just part of life on that. I wish there's something we could do. It's just that is. And I know the staff is on top of that and moving things along in those areas. So some other things is that, two things that we've been getting some traction with at the other county commissioners in the cities and the school districts that we audit like to see is that it's important for the staff and you commissioners to understand our financial statements and what our auditors do and what these pension liabilities really mean and how to manage those. So our firm has been providing training on for commissioners, what their responsibility is for internal controls, checks and balances, what to look out for to see if something's going wrong, you know, what the financial statements look like. And then we also have training like fraud training where we have the entire staff come in and some people say we teach you how to cheat, but some people, you know, and why would you teach all our employees how to cheat? Well, we teach them to recognize what's happening. There's only a certain number of people that are going to cheat no matter what. But now what we say, we got that 2% that's going to cheat. We got 98% of your employee base that is looking and know how to recognize people cheating. So it's a better process from there. So in addition, we're seeing a lot of people, clients across, we do 537 government audits across our footprint. And we're seeing a lot of fraud in the IT area. Here in New Mexico, we had a local college that got hit for a scam for a couple $100,000 because a phishing thing, you know, a fake email came in. And then we had another city that got hit for a couple $100,000 because somebody accessed their computer system. So our firm has a whole computer network section that helps in that area. We do extra work in the computer area to help the basics. More than we ever did before we merged it in Carr, Riggs, and Ingram. Now we do even more to give that penetration testing, all the deep controls that every business needs going forward because it's so easy to fall for any of these scams. They're just incredible how complex they're getting and how good the crooks are getting. So just keep that in mind if that's out there. And again, I personally didn't work on the audit. The people that were there are out of town, and so I get the pleasure of coming to talk to you because I hear about the clients in the office, and I heard nothing but good things about San Miguel County and how they want to be better. And that's good, and that's the kind of clients we want, because they want to do better. You can see the improvement by getting rid of audit findings and the lack of journal entries and stuff like that, and just an attitude. So for that, I want to thank the staff and let the commissioners know how we think about your staff in the finance area. I'm ready for any questions.
Does anyone have any questions? Commissioner Garcia?
Melinda, I'd like to thank you and your staff for coming up with the results that you came up with. I know that it takes a lot of effort to have a clean audit the way that you do, and I think that can't go unrecognized, so I want to thank you for that. I have a question on the assets. Over a 5-year period, we've gone up almost $9 million, but I noticed that from last year, from 2017 to 2018, it rather than going up, it went down by a little over $500,000. What's the reason for that?
I really have to probably look very closely at that, but a lot of it has to do with cash and the fact that we're spending some of the cash that we have, the excess cash that we're at in the next fiscal year for items. So that's probably the largest part.
So there may have been an encumbrance that rolled over to the following fiscal year? Sure. Okay. But thank you again, Melinda, for everything, and appreciate that.
Any other questions? Do you have a motion?
So move.
Motion by Commissioner Garcia. Second. Second by Commissioner Varela. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 7, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Item 7, County Manager's Report. Presenter, Fidel Martinez, County Manager.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, let me start off by discussing a few details on the retreat we had in March. I want to thank Melinda Gonzalez for the excellent presentation she gave on finances. That was at the beginning of our retreat, so I want to thank you for that presentation. It was very informative. With that said, we will start our budget hearings next week with the departments. That will start on April the 15th, and we will meet the 15th, the 16th, the 17th, and the 18th with the departments. We are off on Good Friday, and then we will conclude budget hearings on the 22nd. So again, we will meet with every department in the county and go through budget hearings. We also had the opportunity during the retreat to discuss our 2-year strategic plan for roads. This is a draft of our strategic plan for roads. Now you'll notice in the draft, we have goals and objectives for roads. Mr. Arnold Lopez will go into further detail. And item number, later on in the agenda, he will go into further detail. That is an informational item, but what we would like to do at our next commission meeting in Pecos is to have our 2019-2020 strategic plan for road projects as an action item so that the commission can approve the two-year plan. So you'll have this for the discussion with Mr. Lopez. Last week, I had an opportunity to meet with the Chamber of Commerce. I met with Mr. Philip Martinez, Mr. Luna, Dave Luna, and Mrs. Anissa Apodaca. The Chamber of Commerce, they are interested in collaboration with the county, something similar to what we were trying to do with EDC. So we will meet with the chamber this month to develop deliverables, and hopefully, I'm very hopeful that at our next commission meeting, we will present to the commission a contract with the Chamber of Commerce on specific economic development activities for the community.
Has that date been set?
Hopefully, we're hoping now in the next few weeks that we will meet with the chamber and have those discussions. one of the items that was brought up, they are interested in grants. There's specific grants that they want to pursue, but they need financial assistance for those specific grants. But I will work with the chamber. I've asked Commissioner Trujillo, Commissioner Garcia to assist with me with those negotiations, and I think we should have something solid that we can present to the commission at our next meeting in Heckles. The next item, Yolanda Cruz. Of course, Yolanda, she is in the process of setting up a meeting with several nonprofits within the community. Las Vegas First, Kiwanis, the Watershed Alliance. There's about 5 or 6 nonprofits, and what she's coordinating is she's trying to set up a meeting with everyone so we can identify some of the needs within the community. Ms. Yolanda Cruz, is there anything you'd like to, any comments you would like to make about this particular meeting and when it will take place?
Not really. I didn't bring the list with me, but I'll be happy to answer any questions. It'll be on the 29th of this month at Highlands University in room 322 from 10 to 12. And representatives from Highlands, Luna Small Business Development Center, the Chamber of Commerce, Las Vegas Community Foundation, the Pecos Business Alliance, Las Vegas First, their Main Street, and there's City of Las Vegas, and I believe the mayor in Pecos, and there's a couple of other entities probably, but I can't remember offhand. But if you have any other suggestions, let me know.
And that'll take place on April the 29th, which is a Monday, correct?
Yes.
From 10 to 12 at New Mexico Highlands University.
Room 322, I believe.
322, room 322. Thank you. Any questions on the retreat?
Any questions?
No. One more item, the governor did sign capital outlay, House Bill 280. So I'm really excited that she signed the bill. I'm working with Melinda and the staff, and our goal is to spend that money this year. We're looking at to purchase 2 fire trucks, 3 police units. We're looking at purchasing an ambulance in Pecos, equipment for Public Works, a few trucks for Public Works, flooring material for the detention center, about $180,000 worth of materials for the clerk's office and so forth. So we're really excited, and like I said, we plan to spend that money this year. That's all I have. I stand for any questions.
Is there any questions?
Madam Chair, I'd like to thank our county manager and staff for the successful, what I call a successful retreat, 2-day retreat. I think that it was good to sit there and visit one-on-one with staff, the commission, and the administrative part of the county, and I think that staff was able to come out of there feeling that their work is appreciated. And I think it's important that we as commission not let that go unnoticed with staff, because staff it plays a strong role with the day-to-day issues that we face. And I just want to thank you and the staff, Mr. Martinez. Additional to that, I'm anxious to see something with regards to economic development. I know that 2 of us are going into our 4th month here as new commissioners, and I'm feeling much better now that we're 4 months into it than I felt in January when we started, because we have seen progress. Even though there may not seem like there's progress, I'm confident that there is progress going on, the five commissioners up here. There may be differences, there's always going to be differences, but at the end, as long as we walk out of here agreeing to one thing that is going to be positive for the community, I think that's more than anything that we could ask for. So thank you, Dr. Martinez.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion on the floor to approve?
It's for information only. That's for information only.
No.
It's a manager's report.
Are you done, Mr. Manager?
Yes, Madam Chair.
So we'll move on to item 8, disposition of records. Presenter Vidal Martinez, County Manager.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, the county offices will be disposing of records currently held at the county storage unit. Each department will go through their records and only dispose of items that are no longer required to be retained. Madam Chair, if you would do the honors and read the resolution. At this time, I'm requesting that the commission approve the resolution to dispose of items that are no longer required to be retained.
Resolution 2019-0409 CM, disposition of records. Whereas the county has storage units for all county departments. Whereas these units have become overcrowded and departments are lacking space to store current items. Whereas the county manager has provided direction for the departments to rid themselves of items no longer needed. Whereas each department is to determine what they can dispose of based on their internal retention policy and or at a minimum the retention policy set by the state, which has since been repealed. Therefore, be it resolved that San Miguel County does hereby allow disposition of such items accepted and approved this 19th day. Do I have a motion on the floor to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Garcia, second by Commissioner Trujillo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Madam Chair, I have a question. Dr. Martinez, will this include all those fire units that are out there at Public Works, maybe doing a public auction or something? I know that there's quite a few units out there, and it would be nice to have an auction to get rid of all that equipment.
Storage units, okay?
It's part of storage.
But they're not units, are they?
These are records.
These are records, right?
These are records.
Yeah.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, that would require a separate resolution that identifies the value and like VIN numbers and all that kind of thing. So I think right now, our safety officer and a member of my staff are working on identifying what those items are. And so we could actually come to you with a resolution that identifies all the different vehicles that need to be removed from our quick sample system. And then upon approval and after we send it to DFA and to the state auditor's office, we can go ahead and work on that. I'm just not sure exactly at what point that's going to be. But it will be a separate resolution.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 9, request the authorization of the 2019 San Miguel County Summer Youth Program. Presenter Vidal Martinez, County Manager.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, at this time I'm requesting the commission to authorize the appropriations of $30,000 for the 2019 Summer Youth Program. The Summer Youth Program is intended to provide a positive life learning experience for youth in San Miguel County. This is an 8-week summer program that will start on June the 3rd and end July the 26th or 27th. It's an 8-week program, 32 hours per week at a rate of $9. So at this time, I'm requesting that the commission approve the $30,000 for youth.
Madam Chair,
Madam Chair.
Mr. Martinez, I have a request or a question, and I guess the question is for you, Manager, is are you going to reach out to the rural areas, or is this just for Las Vegas? Because the last 2 years, none of no one in Pecos or the area, my area, were able to participate in the program.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, what we're looking at this summer, we plan to hire 6 or 7 high school students that will assist in litter control and beautification of our community. So again, we're looking about 6 or 7 students. They will be assigned Public Works, Mr. Lopez, and their goal is to, we're going to focus on county roads to pick up trash, trim trees, brush, and so forth. So we're looking about 6 or 7 that will be assigned to that particular department. Then we're looking at, I think it's a total of 12 students, 12 or 13, to work in specific departments. The challenge that we face is that when we hire youth, we need to have a place for them to work. So have reached out to departments to find out if they need any assistance with their day-to-day activities. So if we have any youth from Pecos that apply, the challenge that we face is trying to place them within the Pecos area. I know in the past, I think we had one student and he was having a hard time driving back and forth. But maybe what we could do is if we can assign that student to work maybe in the village of Pecos. So that the issue is trying to find a place for that student to work. I don't want us to be in a situation where we hire these kids and then we don't know where to put them.
Well, I think last year we had the discussion that possibly the senior center, which county partially funds, or the transfer station in Pecos. So.
Okay. I will definitely look
into
that.
Or with the village, if we could work in partnership with them.
If we can find a place.
But I would like to offer that opportunity to our rural.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I agree. Okay.
Madam Chair, motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Garcia.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Nahar. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 10, ratification of out-of-state travel for Desiree Trujillo, presenter Diego Trujillo, IT supervisor.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, Dr. Martinez, at this time requesting approval for out-of-state travel for Ms. Desiree Trujillo to attend the Tyler Connect Conference. San Miguel County, on the shoulders of the hard work of Ms. Desiree Trujillo, has received the Excellence Award from Tyler Technologies, our software provider. And that's the award right there that she received last night. Desiree was selected out of all the assessor staffs across the country as the recipient of this award on behalf of the county for her exceptional knowledge, her higher understanding of the Tyler software. And she was that one individual who got that award for us this year. So hats off to her. She's currently at the conference right now and she will return tomorrow evening. So a great accomplishment and a great award for our staff. An unbiased award presented by our software company.
Do I have a motion on the full floor?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Nahar, second by Commissioner Varela. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 11, as per county manager recommendations to approve the revised job description for the fire station division fire marshal. Presenter, Eileen Cedillo, Human Resource Director.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and Commissioners. In your packet, you have a revised job description for Fire Services Division Fire Marshal. So we are basically requesting the title of the position be changed from Fire Marshal to Fire Chief. And the revised job description will also include the supervision of the Office of Emergency Management for your consideration.
Madam Chair, motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Nahar.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garcia. All those in favor?
Aye.
No, motion carries.
13.
I know, my computer. Item 13, as per county manager recommendations to approve the revised job description for the Office of Emergency Management, Emergency Management Specialist, presenter Eileen Cedillo, Human Resource Director.
Again, the revision of the job description of the Office of Emergency Management will change to be supervised by the fire chief. Action requested approval of the revised job description for the OEM supervisor.
Motion to approve.
Motion, so moved.
Motion by Commissioner Garcia,
Second.
second by Commissioner Nahar. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 14, Fair Housing Proclamation. Presenter Alex Tafoya, Planning and Zoning Supervisor. What?
Alex, you're up.
No, but do you have something else?
Was there one more job description to approve? I'm sorry.
There's not another one. Because we did 2.
Did we do 11, 12, and 13?
My computer went out, so.
Let me give you I have the hard copy. Here's the hard copy. You want the hard copy?
As per county manager recommendation to approve the revised job description for the Office of Emergency Management Supervisor, Eileen Cedillo, Human Resource Director.
Okay, so
That's item 12.
that was 12. We did 12.
Did we did 13?
Now 13.
Okay, as per county manager recommendation to approve the revised job description for the Office of Emergency Management, Emergency Management Specialist, Eileen Cedillo, Human Resources Director.
And the last change on job descriptions is the Office of Emergency Management, Emergency Management Specialist. Job description will now include under general supervision of the San Miguel County Fire Chief. All duties, responsibilities, and work performed will remain the same as stated on the job description. I'm requesting the approval of the revised job description.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Garcia,
Second.
second by Commissioner Trujillo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 14, Fair Housing Proclamation, presenter Alex Tafoya, Planning and Zoning Supervisor.
Good afternoon. This is our yearly proclamation recognizing April as the month that fair housing is acknowledged. We would like to ask that the County Commission Chair proclaim and read a proclamation proclaiming April 9th today as Fair Housing Day in San Miguel County.
Yes, sir.
14. The second one. The bottom one.
I was going to read it. Exhibit 101, Fair Housing Proclamation with required elements. Proclamation. Whereas fair and equal housing is a right guaranteed to all Americans, and whereas the principle that fair and equal housing is a fundamental human entitlement, and whereas all citizens have the right to live where they choose within their financial means, and whereas people must not be denied housing because of race, color, religion, sex, national origin, handicap, or familial status, and whereas we must as individuals assure equal access to housing for all in our communities, and whereas San Miguel County, New Mexico acknowledges the importance of assuring fair and equal treatment of all citizens. Now therefore, I, Maria L. Martinez, San Miguel County Commission Chair, do hereby proclaim April 9, 2019 as Fair Housing Day, dated 9th day of April 2019.
Motion to approve?
Motion to approve by Commissioner Varela.
Second?
Second by Commissioner Trujillo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 15, legislative appropriation number C 2661.
Yes, on this one, county staff took action to accept the legislative appropriation number C 2661, which provides $20,000 to plan, design, and construct road and drainage improvements to county roads A2 and A3. The agreement was signed by the county manager and forwarded back to Department of Transportation for approval, and the Department of Transportation approved it, and we're just asking the Board of County Commissioners to ratify the action that was taken by county staff.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Nahar, second by Commissioner Trujillo and Garcia. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 16, update on San Miguel County PECO sub-area plan. Presenter Alex Tapoya, Planning and Zoning Supervisor.
What we're doing here is just providing a brief update for information purposes on the PECOS sub-area plan, providing it to the Board of County Commissioners for review, comment, and then we'll bring it back at a later date for adoption. This plan was worked on pretty much at the same time that the county's comprehensive plan was being worked on, and also the village of PECOS comprehensive plan was being worked on. This plan addresses the elements of natural and cultural resources, land use, economic development, housing, transportation, capital facilities, and hazard mitigation. The plan was put together by ARC, the same company that consultant company that worked on the county's comprehensive plan. It included community involvement from August of 2017 up until February 2018, and public meetings that were held in the PECOS area at the village administrative building. And it addresses different interests within the sub-area, and the sub-area includes an area outside the village limits down to the area of Roll, Illfield, and then I guess it would be north up into the PECOS Wilderness area. But I can't remember the exact mileage in square miles right offhand. But it looks at the mutual interests of the area, land use planning, coordinated responsibilities or responses for development proposals, for example, supporting the Glorieta camps, opposition to water transfer, applications, coordinated applications and lobbying for legislative appropriations, grant writing, forest fire hazard mitigation, emergency response, historic information, coordinating of fishing access with the Park Service, U.S. Forest Service, and private landowners, advocacy for improved broadband internet connectivity, village of PECOS water and treatment connection from the East PECOS area, recycling, solid waste disposal, community center, things of that nature. It includes an implementation plan in the natural resources and cultural resources area and land use, implementation plan in regard to economic development activities, capital facilities. Some of the interests in the Pecos area are, for example, developing a community center. Talks about maintaining the fire department buildings, developing an ICIP on an annual basis, which we do already, updating the county's asset management plan and integrating facilities, considering working with the village of Pecos to create space at their municipal building for a sheriff office substation, housing in the matters, transportation, to, for example, creating a multi-year priority plan for county road improvements. County manager has already started working on that with Arnold Lopez. Hazards mitigation to promote forest thinning, a Firewise program, updating the county's community wildfire protection plan. Leo Maestas and Andrew Duran are already working on those things with the county manager, coordinating emergency responders in the area to update an emergency response management plan, work with the community communications in helping get the word out for different activities that are going on. For example, providing notice on the county websites. And Diego Trujillo has already made that offer to various communities throughout the county, not only in the Pecos area, but Conchas and out into the valley, up into Rosiala. But it's up to people to submit their items to him. And that's lacking a little bit because they're not doing that, but we'll promote that. So it's broken up into the different sections of the different elements. The community that participated had visions for tourism, community services, and the economy, political representation and cooperation, different themes that talk a lot about the love of the beauty and the tranquility of the community, wildfire hazard mitigation, improvements to roads and drainage is a big one, water availability, water rights is another big one. A lot of discussion in the plan in regard to the Pecos schools and housing and income levels in the area. Goes into a little bit of the challenges of the area in regard to recreational tourism, and oddly enough, there appears from the community to be opposition to recreational tourism, and I say oddly enough because I think Pecos is wide open for that type of activity. They're right next to the wilderness there, and a lot of fishing and hunting in the area. Discusses a lot about the demographic trends and projections, population-wise. Pecos is pretty stable and has been for the last 20 years or so in regard to population. Home ownership, it addresses home ownership. A lot of information on income and housing. Discusses again the natural and cultural resources element, the things such as the makeup of the area, the water, the drainage, the presence of the Pecos Canyon and how it affects Pecos itself, a national park, Lower Colonias, and all the different areas. Just addresses things, temperature, things that are necessary to have. It also talks about the Pecos area's historic contact and resources, And it notes that there doesn't seem to be a lot of effort to designate a lot of the, structures and properties as historic properties and historic resources. So there's some discussion into that, the history of the Pecos area when it was settled. A lot of discussion on the mining area up in the upper Pecos area. The post-World War II commercial development. There was a lot of commercial development in the Pecos, within especially the village of Pecos, and it seems to have faded quite a bit. A lot of discussion on promoting historic preservation and how to go about doing that. Land use and the use of the land. The Bureau of Land Management and the Forest Service and the National Park Service and the state Game and Fish owns a lot of the land in the Pecos area. There's not that much under private ownership. Discusses different issues, different opportunities. There's a sense of place there. That was a big topic that was repeated over again. There's a lot of concern. The plan goes into the village of Pecos a lot, probably a little more than I would say it should, because the focus is not the village of Pecos, but the sub-area itself. But the village of Pecos is like the city of Las Vegas. In their area, the village of Pecos is the center. It's the economic area. Government offices, there's a bank there, a few restaurants and schools, so very influential and very successful, very good school there. So a lot of the focus was the village of Pecos itself and how the county and the village could work together to address common concerns. What else? I don't know how much detail you want me to go into. Discusses economic development and employment. Graphs a lot of people that travel into Santa Fe and other areas to work. There's a concern that Pecos could become a bedroom community of Santa Fe. And so a lot of the residents of the area don't want to see that happen. There's some lodging going on in the area. Hummingbird Cabins, Los Pinos Ranch, Pecos Cabins, Wilderness Gateway and Bed and Breakfast, and we're starting to see some Airbnbs coming into the area. County staff is working with finance to address some of those things, contacting them because there's the issue of, well, not only business licenses, but lodger's tax and gross receipts tax as well. The targeted businesses identified are cottage industries, wood products, things like a microbrewery, film and television production. There's a need for a grocery store in the area and a hardware store in the area. A lot of people do their shopping in Santa Fe because really there's no place to shop in Pecos. And really that's about it. The plan is available. The Planning and Zoning Office for anyone that wants to come and see it. And we would like to, an appropriate time, take it before the County Commission at the May meeting in Pecos for adoption, or at least another review like we're doing today. And I'll get with the county manager for some direction on how to do that. Really, that's all I have, unless anybody has a question. You're allowed one question.
Is there any questions?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you so much, Alex. I did participate in some of those meetings in Pecos, and you mentioned that you were surprised that there was not support for recreational tourism.
That's what's addressed in the plan, and I read that, and
That sounds opposite to me. because a table I sat with former Commissioner Huey Lay, and this is a discussion we have all the time. We lobbied for, got $2.1 million for the establishment of the Pecos Canyon State Parks, which is shifting the management of the state game and fish properties to state forestry. We have the two most visited campgrounds in the state in Pecos, Jack's Creek and Holy Ghost. So we've been talking a lot in the community about recreational opportunities and recreational tourism, improving the services. So I don't know if that's a mistake. I want to find that in the
Yeah, I'd have to check because like I say, it was in there and I was kind of surprised.
I don't know who interpreted that and how it got there, but I understand the opposite to be true. And I know the plan is a work in progress. It's always, going to be changing because it's a plan. So, and you did mention the sub area. So Elvaya is separate, right? They did their own.
Yes,
We did
that's
one
their
for
own,
them, and they
yes.
had meetings, and then Pecos separately. So on this one, yeah, and you did mention broadband and economic development, which are also big goals. A grocery store, I'm glad you mentioned that. We have a lot of historic properties besides the mine and Route 66. So developing tourism, recreational tourism, and other tourism is huge and high on that. So I'd like to see if, and one more question on when do we update this plan? I know we worked on it, I can't remember. It seems like it was just yesterday, no, it was a few years ago.
It's suggested once it gets adopted, approved, whatever term you want to use, that the comprehensive plans get revised at a minimum 5 years and a maximum 10 years. So there's a little 5 to 10 year period in there.
Is there any way to go in there and if people have comments and want to correct something or add something to it? What would the process be, or is this just what it is with the process that
What
has
they
happened?
what they can do is submit their comments to me, and then what I'll do is I can, let's say, the undersheriff there has a comment or wants something added, and I'll accumulate up any comments that we get, and then when we bring it back to the county commission, I'll let them know, and the county commission can tell me if they want it in. I'm not going to go make the changes myself.
So,
no.
did who prepared this plan? Was it the consultant, the contractor, or did you prepare the plan with their?
No, ARC prepared the plan,
Okay.
yes.
Okay,
And then they turned it over to us, but we do have the ability to go in and make changes as we need to if we're directed to by the county commission.
Thank you, Alex, for keeping us on top of this. I appreciate your efforts and the work you do. One more question. And you said we could pick up, that's a hard copy here. Is it not available online, so a person would have to?
That's my, I guess what I would ask, if you want me to go ahead and have the IT department put it on the county website.
That would be great.
Yeah, we
That
can
would be
do
great,
that.
because a lot of people in the area don't come into Las Vegas.
Yeah.
It's hard for them to obtain a copy. And for example, Commissioner Lays and Terrero, a lot of people I can think of would really benefit from having it online, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, and he'll be around here somewhere. They'll do it pretty quick. I'll get it to them in the morning and they'll put it on pretty quick.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Commissioner Trujillo?
Madam Chair, Mr. Tafoya, you mentioned a Firewise program. Having had a little bit of experience when I was working in conservation, is that an aspiration in the plan, or is there actual movement to begin a Firewise program in the Canyon area?
You know, I really don't know how to answer that question. That was a concern brought up, but the county does have its hazard mitigation plan, which includes those types of activities, but I wouldn't be able to tell you what the details are.
And I know this is part of the plan, but Chairwoman and Commissioners, if I may, the county actually has special funding to try to engage the community to become Firewise communities. So after this CWPP plan is released, the plan is for us to go and hire somebody to help us have our communities become Firewise communities.
Okay, and that's great, because I know there's some good resources out there that they actually come and do assessments and do the whole thing and create a Firewise community. So thank you for that information.
Thank you.
Thank you for that information. Ready to move on? Any other questions? Item number 17, San
Thank you.
Miguel County, New Mexico, Summit Food Service, Commissary Services Management, presenter Matthew Alwell, Warden.
Chairman, Commissioners, before you today is our third amendment to our food service management agreement with Summit Foods. Included in the amendment is a price increase based on the original contract, which allowed them to a consumer price index increase each year. This year was 2.8%, driving the food cost from 6 to 7 cents, depending on the number of meals served. We request your review and approval.
Do I have a motion on the floor to?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner
Second.
Garcia, second by Commissioner Nahara. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 18, 2019-20 Strategic Plan for Road Department, presenter Arnold Lopez, San Miguel County Public Works Interim Director.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and Commission. Dr. Martinez, Manager. So earlier I distributed our this sheet here. That's our plan. If you all could look at that, and I'll go over it briefly. If you have any questions, we'll go item by item. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask any of.
I have a question right off.
Okay.
Mine, I don't have any at all on here.
Oh, you don't have one? I'm
No.
sorry. thought
I know I have the list, but my roads aren't on here. I was gonna get together with you, because I didn't understand the assignment. I didn't know we had funding, and I didn't know we were doing this. So I don't have a list of roads. like-
Okay, this particular list here is actually all funded projects. Okay, and there is another list that is not this actual list. Yeah, and we'll open to discussion if you all like on that one as well. But the first one is our funded list. So on all these projects, we do have funding available for the construction, and some of these actually the completion. There's one of them in particular that's actually in the process. So we're going to start off with the El Camino TAP project. And that one is, we have a current budget of $737,888. And that is also a joint project with the city of Las Vegas for their Riverwalk portion. So there's about $200,000, a little over that will be used in their area. There's a possibility, we met with DOT on a progress meeting, and there's a possibility that they will add additional funding to this. With the relocation of the actual trail and the shifting of the roadway is going to require total reconstruction on it. So they're reconsidering the funding on this project. Any questions on that one? Okay, our FEMA bridge repair is a FEMA project that is over in the San Jeronimo area. We got a budget of close to $800,000 on that one. And that one basically is in design phase right now. And then as soon as we get final approval on the design, we'll be let out to bid. And we're hoping that'll go out to bid and start construction actually probably by July, is the intent. That particular bridge sustained damage during the 2014 flooding. So FEMA will only provide repairs to the bridge and not a reconstruction. Country Acres drainage, that was let out to bid. We had a lowest bidder on that one. It's been awarded. We had pre-construction on it, and we're awaiting scheduling on that. But we're anticipating to start that by the first of the month.
Madam Chair, I have a question. Mr. Lopez, on the starting date, you have April 1st.
Yes,
Have they
sir.
started construction already on this project?
No, sir, not construction, but it has been let out to bid. We've had pre-construction, all the preliminary requirements for projects. But it's in the verge of being started.
And that will
Yes,
start this month?
I believe it will start to the latter part of the month, or if not the first of May. So we're still on schedule on that. These are just kind of anticipated dates, as you can see. But I'm pretty confident. The contractor was coming up with his bond requirements, and we're awaiting that finalization, and then we'll schedule a construction date on that, or begin a construction date. White Barn Road is ongoing. That's basically 90% complete. We just have a little corrective action that we got to do on that one. And we're hoping that if weather permits, they'll finalize that one by mid-April.
Madam Chair,
Sorry.
Mr. Lopez, on the White Barn, I know there was an email concerning the weather. Do you anticipate that they will complete this project soon?
Yes, yes. I would say if weather permits, I would think by mid-May, actually, it should be complete. That one we only require, if we got 3 days of good weather, would be sufficient to complete that. H Street Extension reconstruction, we added a little bit more budget to that in order to hopefully improve the whole section of H Street Extension from our boundary by Red's Junkyard all the way to the northern side, or the furthest northern entrance of Country Acres. And we're hoping that that budget amount right there will do that entire improvement. Cactus Drive in Rowe, we have 75,000 allocated for that. That one we will be seeking engineering service on that. San Agustin Low Water Crossing is actually already in design. That's 215,000 budgeted. Las Dispensas with that appropriation of 20,000. We are in the process of getting one with the residents up there, having a meeting with them, and deciding what portion of that road will be improved. We had some remaining monies that we did not have projects for, so we created a budget of 200,000 to improve much needed bridge decks and a low water crossing in La Tewa. So the first bridge is the Rociada Bridge on A4A, and on the previous repair, that's about the budgeted amount that we used on that bridge. We're hoping that we'll be able to improve these bridges with that amount, $25,000. In Cañoncito, also on A4A, another bridge that is in dire need of a deck repair. Fortunately, on these bridges, the structure itself is still sound. The timbers underneath are sound. It's just the upper portion of the bridge that is in need of repair. And then we go again to La Tewa, which is a concrete structure. We got some damage on the culverts. We're going to have to tie into those culverts, extend them, and then redo the apron on the inlet side of that certain structure. You know, I put a budgeted amount there of 75,000. I'm hoping that we should be able to do it with less than that, actually, is what I'm hoping for. We have a bridge out in Leyva, County Road B31A, that's also in need of deck repair. Garita Bridge on County Road C58, also in need of deck repair, 25,000 set aside for that one as well. And again, when this goes out to the engineer, they'll go and inspect these decks, and then they'll come up with the actual requirement and what's needed on them. The Camp Blue Haven Bridge on A16 is actually up for consideration, so we'll inspect it and see what the engineer thinks. If not, we have another bridge in San Jeronimo, the Tecolote River there, that is also in possible need of repair. They're not in that bad a shape, but once the engineer looks at them, he'll give me his expert opinion on those ones as well. So we'll decide between which one needs it worse, either San Jeronimo Bridge or Camp Blue Haven Bridge, but we do have it listed down as Camp Blue Haven at this point. And then for 2019, we have the legislative appropriations, which we did receive 50,000 for 827 in Gainas, which will be a extension of our chip seal. We started on that road last year, and we did about approximately a mile of chip seal. And with this amount, we should get at least another half mile, hopefully, of chip seal improvement. In the Panda Rays area, we received actually two appropriations of 50,000 and 25,000. And we're in consideration of doing asphalt improvement, which would be a chip seal from the guard shack at the state road towards Panda Rays. And with that amount, we should be able to do at least 3/4 of a mile. In Chapel, we received 100,000, and that should be sufficient to cover the entire stretch of in El Chapel. And we'll also do basically a pothole repair prior to, and then we'll do a double penetration chip seal on that one. We're going to receive 50,000 for Pecos B51A. That will be used for design in a low water crossing within that roadway there. That area is an area that during heavy rains, it's a low water crossing now, but unfortunately the people cannot cross to their side during the heavy runoff and rains. So at some point we'd like to be able to construct a significant structure that they will be able to access either side of the drainage in that area. For 2020, our local government road fund project requests, these are still just requested amounts. We won't know actual amounts till they appropriate that through our local government road fund. But at this point, we have designated all three of the local government road funds, which is the co-op, the school bus, and the CAP, to El Camino, because again, El Camino is a project that we don't have enough current funding to accommodate all the needs on that road. But with this additional budget here, if DOT doesn't fund the entire project, with this amount, it should be enough funding to completely reconstruct the entire portion of El Camino. Any questions on any of those?
Questions? Anybody have any questions? No. Thank you, Mr. Long.
Okay. And then, I've had an opportunity to visit with most of the commissioners, for the exception of Janice, Ms. Varela. And we do have some requests, in the different districts. And a lot of them are just routine maintenance that we will continue to do. And we take requests every day. People call in and make requests either for maintenance or improvements. We do our best to respond as soon as possible. If it is an emergency and dire need, we will respond immediately, basically, whether it's during working hours or after hours. But long term, we do have some requests and some needs within all the districts. Basically, there's room for improvement in any one of our roads, whether it be surfacing or actual just general maintenance to ditches, culverts, cattle guards, whatever it be. But we could start off with Madam Chair's district. She has some requests done in Halcon area, El Chapel, which is going to get chip seal. Sheridan Road is actually in need of either a chip seal or asphalt improvement on Sheridan Road. And those will be addressed as soon as funding becomes available. we pretty much have all our fundings designated already for 19 and 20, basically. So unless we find a pot of gold somewhere, some of these projects will have to be put on hold till, further funding is available. And then also we will continue to do required maintenance on any one of your roads. Feel free to call me if there's any concerns. Mr. Nahar, the San Agustin Road, we recently applied a lot of material on La Cuesta. That was one of your concerns on there. Of course, there's still more room for more material, and we will continue when we're doing maintenance in those areas if there's bad spots or whatever, and we'll continue to apply material when available and possible. You have C-23 road that's going out towards the McAllister Lake. We've applied some materials on that road, but we still are lacking a little bit further to get to one further property. So that is a good request. Mr. Garcia. So on 827 in Gallinas, we will do some maintenance on that as far as clearing and grubbing, and take care of some overgrowth within the right-of-way. And 827 will get an additional chip seal portion on it, which will be great. Be nice to get that improved with future funding. Provide drainage and improvements on application of base course on A7, small road behind World College. It serves quite a few houses and properties, as well as the World College in that area. And that's a good request. We will schedule that and see when we can accomplish that. We plan on getting together, Mr. Garcia and myself, and touring his district and seeing what other needs and coming up with other plans and to address any problems or anything that we find that needs attention in his roads in that district. So then one of the requests was to come up with a plan to address the drainage and road improvements within the Country Acre subdivision. We're currently hoping that we qualify for a CDBG grant in that area. And if we do get that grant, that'll be great. It'll be, maybe close to 700,000 somewhere in there for improvements to the drainage in there. If not, we will continue to seek fundings in the future and hopefully at some point be able to improve the drainage in the Country Acre subdivision. And then at some point when funding is available, we will contract with an engineer to assess and to come up with a drainage plan to improve the entire subdivision. Mr. Trujillo, on A3, Las Despensas, basically we have that $20,000 for some improvement there. My intent will be there to use county-owned base course material and possibly just letting out to bid and hiring a contractor to do the hauling and application. Therefore, using our material will lengthen the area of improvement. We try and do that whenever possible to get further improvement, more bang for our buck, basically. We got a complete repair on chip seal County Road A34 in Panda Rays, which we do have some monies appropriated for that. It won't cover all the area, but that's a good start. We'll continue to seek additional funding, possibly next year, and hopefully complete that within a couple of year time frame. What the intent is. We've had requests from several of local subdivisions to adopt their roads, and we direct the people as to the process of getting their private road adopted, there's a process that we do follow. And if it is chosen to be adopted, we will make commitment to either with our resources improve these roads, or if engineering and other sources are required, we will do our best to seek funding for that as well. Requests on, and this is just basically maintenance, Chico, Harris Drive, amongst a lot of our roads. So what we do in the springtime, we schedule pothole repair operation is what we call. We started today. Weather's finally warmed up enough to where we can transport our asphalt from Santa Fe. We started in the upper town area today, San Lucero area, over there by the church kind of area there. And we'll continue to do these pothole repairs. Hopefully we'll be in Panda Rays, as you all saw when we were there for our retreat. There's some potholes that surface there. So we'll address all the potholes in everybody's district, within the next month, hopefully, weather permits again. And that's just all in general maintenance, so we do our best. Again, we do it in the spring, and then if some surface throughout the summer, if there are emergency repairs, we used bagged asphalt, or if the local asphalt plant is running, we could go and purchase a small amount and repair something in emergency. But we do purchase asphalt in bags, so if a pothole surface anywhere, and once we're aware of it, we find it or whatever, we try and repair it immediately. Again, you asked that we meet periodically to discuss and assess roads and upkeep in District 3. Again, feel free to contact me at any time, Mr. Trujillo. We can go out whenever.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Madam Chair, I would like Mr. Lopez to meet with each commissioner to go over this list and to either delete, add, or make modifications, and so that we can have it prepared for our next commission meeting for approval. I think that would be a great idea if he could meet with each individual and let's finalize this. Let's sit down and discuss it and say, okay, what is reasonable, what can we complete, and come up with a final product so that we can present to the commission meeting next month. I think that would be very beneficial to all of us, because I know looking at this, there could be some changes. Maybe this has already been complete, but again, I would like Mr. Lopez to meet with each individual. That would be my recommendation.
I think that's a great idea. I think that, you can, maybe each commissioner can reach out to you to schedule that time and see when you're available as well, because I know you're very busy. Schedule that time with you and, see when they want to meet with you and sit down with you and go over the list, and not only that, but set up a time when maybe you can go out with them for the areas they're responsible for, and do a drive around and see what roads need improvement, or what their recommendations are.
Yes, I think that'd be an excellent idea, and we can do that. So either I will contact you. I know you all are busy and you all have busy schedules. I'll try and accommodate, what's available to you, and we'll schedule it.
I have a question, Madam Chair, Mr. Lopez. How about funding for these? Because when I started 2 years ago, and I was preparing my wish list with the roads, and I learned that it doesn't work that way. But it looks like if we're preparing our wish list again to be considered, so are we going to be? How will that be sorted and determined of which roads on our lists get picked?
That's a good question, because you're right. What dictates what we can accomplish, of course, is funding. If it's something that we can do within our means and our resources, it's a little bit easier to plan and accommodate. But when it comes to big requests, we do have to seek funding. Yes, ma'am. And the way I see it now, unfortunately, we pretty much are going to exhaust our road revenue monies that we had. We've been lucky to have, the last 3 years basically. But those funds will be exhausted this year. So beyond that, we're going to rely on local government monies.
I'm sorry, when does the road revenue money come in? Is that what's the period?
So this monies, it was a loan, and Melinda could probably give us the entire history on that.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, the $3.8 million loan that we got back in August of 2016 was for certain roads, and as Arnold had mentioned, the last portion of that loan has already been assigned to certain projects. That loan, I believe, is paid off over a 15-year period. So before we can afford more roads like that, we either need another pledged funding source that we can pledge to pay out, and we'll wait until one of our loans has been paid in full and use that capacity to have another loan. But that might not be for another 4 or 5 years.
That's what I thought, it was like years in advance, no? Okay. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, we'll have to rely on our local government road fund appropriation, then.
And this other fund is federal, I'm sorry, this fund that we were just talking about, the road fund that we're about done with, the loan, is that federal?
It
Or
was
is that
a,
state?
it's a loan.
It's a loan?
It's a loan, so they gave us money up front, and we're using our grocery tax money from our pool farmers, grocery taxes to pay it back.
Any other questions for Mr. Lopez? Thank you, Mr. Lopez.
Thank you as well.
We'll move on to item number 20, Pest Control Contract Award.
Excuse me, you skipped one.
Did I skip one? Oh, okay.
Yeah, our monthly report for.
Public Works Division Report for the month of March 2019. Presenter Arnold Lopez.
Okay, I'll keep this kind of short. So basically, you all saw our monthly report. We have been busy. So general maintenance, we did do a nice improvement over in the Blue Ridge subdivision, which we basically base coursed all that area. I took Madam Chair out there and she saw the improvement there. That was nice. We completed that. We just had a big haul operation also to Cerrito. We applied many loads over there in an area that was rocky, no material. So we resurfaced quite a few areas at Cerrito. I guess something that I would like to tell you about that I'm proud of that we've accomplished, and you see it in here, there's notes there that say about tires being taken to Denver City, Texas. So Public Works had a huge pile of tires that, illegal dumpings and even tires that we replaced with our equipment and trucks. But we had a pile, an accumulation of loose tires and tire bales in the excess of probably 30,000 tires. So we've been in the process of loading, sorting and loading, and we've been hauling them to Denver City, Texas. We're almost complete with that. I got loads ready to go out on Thursday. Once those loads get to Texas, we'll only have 2 loads left. So it's a big accomplishment to get rid of that many tires. So the guys have been
Great
putting
job.
a lot of hours on the road. It's a 12-hour trip, round trip, and that's good. It's finally nice to see that pile of tires. We've been in violation for having them, and then also just seeing them gone, the hazard of them catching fire, infested with mice and rodents and stuff like that. It's nice to see them out of our facility.
And I want to thank you for addressing that, because that was something that didn't look pretty for one. And, the mice and all that, was attracted for all that. Thank you for making sure that got taken care of.
But that's about it. You could see there on the report, guys are busy, they're doing a good job. Any requests, anything?
Anybody have any questions?
I have a comment.
Comment?
Madam
Commissioner
Chair.
Trujillo?
Mr. Lopez, I just want to thank you for taking the time to meet with us and showing us the capacity that the county has to do what we can do to maintain our roads and improve where we can improve, and for you kind of thinking outside of the box, not only with the funds that are granted, but what the county in itself has capacity to do, because we have our crusher and we have trucks to transport all this road material, and you always think like, you know, you're improving the job and you're including our resources to do so, so it makes it even better. So I just want to thank you. Yeah, I know you have a lot on your plate, Arnold.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
But you do a lot. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Commissioner Barrera, did you have something?
No, thank you. We'll just get together and see when, I don't know if we can cruise all the roads in my district. It might take a few days, or we can sit down and look at a map or whatever you think, but
We'll do both.
But my
We'll do both.
phone's out of operation for a couple of days at least.
All right. Yeah, we could schedule that for next week.
Anybody else?
I'll email you.
Right, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So we'll move on to item 20, Pest Control Contract Award. Presenter, Ms. Melinda Gonzalez.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, the county went out for bids for pest control services, and we received 2 bids. And we'd like to make a recommendation or authorize us to enter into a contract with the lowest bidder for the pest control. I don't know if it's appropriate to say or not, but we have received protests on this. And as long as I'm able to work out the protests with our attorney, I would like to seek your permission to enter into a contract with this.
I have a question. Is the protest regarding the chemicals that are going to be used, or an application of it, or just?
So it's a technicality on mandatory requirements. We require, some of our mandatory requirements is for the minimum corresponding applicator's license, which everybody had. It was just the timing of when those evidences of like insurance and business licenses was presented, when they had to be presented at the time of the bid, and or we could be accepted.
Madam Chair, is Elite Pest Control a local company?
Madam Chair and Commissioner Ahmad, yes, we have.
I have a question to our legal. In dealing with requests for bids, in my experience, if there's a protest, automatically that's a red flag that maybe we need to, I don't mind, would it hurt us to table this issue until next month to make sure that the legality of the situation is addressed prior to us making a decision now based on that protest?
The answer to your question is, yes, we can postpone it. There's really 2 tracks that we're going on. We're going on the regular approval by commission track, but we also, with the finance department and the procurement specialist, I'll be working with them, going on the track of the protest. Unless there is an immediate need for the pest control services, then we can wait while we go through the track of handling the protest.
And the reason I say that is because I'm also a business owner, and I submit bids for state work, and I know that when they request certain things within their bid package, if those issues are not submitted the day that the bid is scheduled for opening, automatically it disqualifies the potential vendor if they decide that they want to bring a certificate of insurance a week later or 2 weeks later, or business license. It's always been a practice that I need to submit, in my case, that I need to submit whenever the bid is requested. The timeline.
Excuse me, Commissioner. What you're talking about is really starting to become involved as a commissioner inside of an internal process on a protest and procurement. So what I would, although I respect your experience and knowledge, what I would prefer to do is allow staff to work this out internally, come through their own justifications, and then we will bring essentially our decision back to you as compared to talking about how other procurements may have been done or what your experience with them are.
So are we in order tabling the issue then?
Unless there is an immediate need to approve this because the roaches are going to eat us up, then yes, you can go ahead and postpone it while staff goes through the process on the protest.
What is your recommendation, Manager Martinez?
Madam Chair, members of the commission, the protest came in just before the meeting. My recommendation is that we approve the contract and we move forward. That would be my recommendation.
Do I have a motion on the floor to approve?
I so move.
Second?
Motion by Commissioner Trujillo, second by Commissioner Varela. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 21, bank transfer for the month of March. Presenter Bertha Bustamante. Well, no, not Bertha.
Good afternoon,
Good
Commissioners.
afternoon.
Justin Garcia, Chief Deputy Treasurer. So this month, we're doing something a little bit different. You have the backup